and welcome to the Double or Nothing podcast. Dylan and I are back. I know it's been a couple week hiatus here, but during this time of the year, there's not as much exciting stuff going around, and I feel like the same topics just always get recycled. But today, we will be going over the NBA playoffs. We'll be starting a little recap of the Masters, and as always, some NFL talk since the draft is coming up next week, right?
Yeah, the draft is
Okay.
next week. Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each series of the playoffs, and we're going to pick who we think is going to win, who is not going to win, why, and then we'll do our overall pick who we think is going to win the title. And I didn't wear any of my Knicks stuff today.
I have a Knicks hat for you, a really nice one. If you want one upstairs, I can.
It's okay.
You don't want it for the podcast? It's really nice.
Today I'm going unbiased.
Okay,
so.
okay, I like it. I like it.
I'm an idiot. I thought last night I was like, I'm going to wear a jersey tomorrow, and then I just completely forgot to put it on.
You're gonna go unbiased. Okay, I like it. I don't know as much as you know on the scope of the NBA, but I usually get pretty involved
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah, I usually do get pretty involved. So. I should have got involved with my team, but I didn't.
Well, you're going with the Warriors, right? I mean, is that we'll start here. Who is your pick to win it all?
My pick is the Warriors. I have I think I have a $900 ticket to win $25K on the Warriors.
When did you put it in? When they lost, or in the play-in, or
before the play-in?
Oh, before the play-in.
I put it in the night of the play-in, but it was at night because the game didn't start till 10. And we had a conversation. Me, Shane, Viggs, a couple people were bullshitting. Viggs said it was a horrible bet. A bunch of people who I've spoke to don't like the bet at all. But I just think Jimmy Buckets is the man, and that's what I said. I said Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is an entirely different player than he is in the regular season. It's just one of those guys like a Giancarlo or one of those guys who's good, but maybe not a top 5-6 player, and then all of a sudden playoffs roll around, and it seems to be every year like when he plays, he's the best. So
I said this to Shane after they lost to the Clippers. I was like, this is better for Dylan's bet if he didn't bet him yet. One and two, if they win the play-in game, they get to play the Rockets.
Yeah.
And then if they win, then they play the winner of the Lakers, who they can beat.
I think they're gonna walk right through to OKC, and then
the best thing for them was avoiding OKC.
I know, and they're going to play him in the title, right? I mean, the conference
that's
title.
What
right?
it would be if they make it there.
That's what I'm saying. So I think, and listen, do I think OKC is a better overall team? Of course I do. I'm not crazy, but I'm just saying overall, when you have two players that can catch fire the way that they catch fire, which is probably, when you're talking about players who are on fire, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry are probably two of the top 5 players in the world when they catch fire. So if you get those two guys rolling in the right direction with all the momentum going into the OKC series, I'll tell you right now, OKC's not going to be happy they're playing them. I'll put it to you that way.
The scary part about OKC is, and they had a good team last year in the playoffs, but outside of Shai, if he's not getting the whistles that he gets, outside of him, there was really no one second person to step up and be that great player. So like you said, the Warriors got, Shai would be the best player in the series, which is debatable with Curry, right? But it's like the Warriors have the second best player and the third best player in that series.
And I just think overall, like when it comes to playoffs, I feel like overall stuff goes out the window, right? It's like Aaron Judge is the best player on the Yankees, but he's not in the playoffs. Like, so like Giancarlo's that guy. So not to say that Steph Curry disappears in the playoffs, because that would just be preposterous. The guy's unbelievable. But I'm saying, like, Jimmy Butler outscored Curry in the playing game. He's dropped 38 points. And I think that's the kind of gameplay you're going to get from him night in, night out in the playoffs. So is he going to have an off night here or there? He's not going to drop 40 points every night, but he's going to be pretty damn close.
So we'll start there at the we'll go through the Western Conference first, and so the first matchup will be OKC, and it'll be versus Dallas or Sacramento. I mean, does it matter either way? Do you think Oklahoma?
No, I don't think it does matter either way. I'm not saying that those teams are
like
horrible, but those teams are the two teams that should be. Those are the two teams that are at least likely to do anything, I would say.
Yeah, it is sad because I do think, like, people might not agree with this, but if Dallas still had Kyrie, one, they probably wouldn't be in the playing game. But if they had Kyrie, Anthony Davis, PJ Washington, and
It'd be an entirely different story. I completely
I
agree.
maybe would pick the Mavs as like a
sleeper.
a sleeper against
Yeah.
Oklahoma City because at any given day you have Kyrie and Anthony Davis, on the
I
team.
completely agree. I said it when they made the Luka trade. I
Yeah,
said,
it's like-
listen, Dallas, as of this very individual moment, is probably a better basketball team than LA. But like
definitely.
when it was full team versus full team, all healthy, like I really thought that Dallas made a pretty good move to make a run that year. But it was one of those things where if they don't go far this year or next year, like
It's over.
It was the worst trade ever.
Yeah.
And it's obviously shaping up to be that way with the injury.
I totally agree. I thought the same thing. I was like, this team could probably win the West with these if Anthony Davis stays healthy.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Kyrie, you're asking for too much for that guy to stay healthy.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
exactly. I mean, even Kyrie. I mean, when he's on, he's one of those X factor players as well. I mean, just incredible basketball.
Yeah,
player,
I mean, he had every bit of involvement in getting them to the finals last year as Luka did.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
he's a great player. Yeah, he's
All
great.
right, so we're both going with OKC. The next matchup, this is tough. You got Denver and the Clippers.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a closer call than
Then OKC and friggin'
yeah.
I'm really interested in this.
So is
Very
there
sad.
any? Let's see here. Where's the match? Well, who do you got? And I'll give you mine.
I'm gonna go with the Clippers. They've been killing it after like the second half of the season. They've just been on fire. Now that Kawhi has just been fully healthy, and I mean, you can argue when he's fully healthy and he's on, he is like right up there as like a top 3 player in the NBA because him on defense is just unbelievable. This
Yeah.
always comes down to what Harden is going to show up, right?
I mean, James Harden has played
played
fair
awesome.
He's played very well. I mean, I think people automatically revert back to that season where he was just dropping like 50 points a night,
Oh.
and so they think of that kind of James Harden, and anything short of that player, it's he's washed. But like James Harden is still dropping 22 to 25 points a night. Like the guy is
10 assists.
yeah, like the guy, the
just-
guy is still a very, very good basketball player. And if him and Kawhi are on the same page and they can gel together well in the against Denver, then sure. But I do think Jokic is just like, I mean, Jokic is just as good of a fundamental basketball player as you're gonna see. I mean,
Okay.
he's just kind of like. He kind of reminds me of like the Tim Duncan days, like where like nobody really wants to ever fall into the whole Tim Duncan's a great basketball player because he's kind of boring to watch. He's just slow, but like somehow,
methodical and just
yeah,
somehow
just like plays it the way you're supposed to play it and does all the right things, but he's just not that exciting to watch. But Tim Duncan is an incredible basketball player. I think the same thing with Jokic. Like a lot of his stuff goes overlooked because he's more boring than a Kyrie Irving or a SGA like or some of these guys. But I do think when push comes to shove, it's going to be really hard to go through a player playing at a level like Jokic can play.
I know. It all comes down to how his supporting cast does. I know Jamal Murray's been like, who knows if he's healthy, who knows if he's not. With Jokic, it's like he's like boring, and then he'll throw a behind the back pass that you're just like, wait a minute, how the hell did you just see that guy across the court? And it just do like the
Yeah.
craziest thing. Denver, to me, after they fired their coach, they fired the GM. I don't know what direction they're going in, but it's like it's hard to pick against the best player on the planet. So.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll with just the history of the Clippers just not being not being like winners in my opinion. When I think the Clippers, I just think like a bunch of talent that's always gonna fall short of the mark. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with the fact that Jokic is just ice in his veins, not gonna care. No moment's too big for him. He's just gonna go out there and get it done. So I'm gonna go Jokic and the Nuggets, and I'm gonna say that they're gonna find a way to put it together. I've seen these talented teams that the Clippers have put together over the years just never really amount to much.
Yeah,
and
it's always a health concern.
it's
you know?
always a health concern. So
And
I agree with you.
Even when they go into the playoffs like semi-healthy, something always happens.
Yeah.
Like-
So to me, Denver just seems like a safer play with two teams that I think are extremely similar. So I'm gonna go with Denver.
I'm going with the Clippers in 7. I think Zubac's playing awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, the hot hand is always a good way to go to.
they've just been so good. And honestly, like you were talking about before, so much respect to James Harden. Everywhere he goes, the guy just makes the playoffs. I mean, you got teams like I like Kevin Durant too, but it's like he goes to a team they don't even make the playoffs. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
know.
mean? I mean, you have James Harden carrying some bad teams sometimes,
Dude,
going places.
I think that James Harden has been a very good basketball player his entire career, and I think that his ridiculous couple of seasons has just like almost hurt him in a sense of a big picture because everyone just looks at those seasons as that's the only time James Harden has been good, as opposed to just looking at his entire career and realizing that he's been a good basketball player, like you said, anywhere he's gone.
And he, like, listen, he's a whether people like it or not, he'll go down as like a top five. Well, I guess now he's a point guard. I was gonna say, and those like you could regard him as like a shooting guard a little bit now, but you know, now I think actually like he is fully point guard, but he's like one of the best offensive weapons the league has ever seen.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
You know?
he's when he's on, man. I mean,
No better guy in the pick and roll since John Stockton. I mean, that guy is he's unbelievable.
yeah. Listen, I've always liked James Harden. I've always liked James Harden.
All right, now this another great series. The West is stacked in this first round, dude. You got the Lakers and the Timberwolves here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll Lakers just because I think like the exciting factor of like, I know Ant Edwards is obviously extremely exciting and
Yeah.
he's an awesome player.
And
But
the NBA wants him to be the face of the league. Real
Yeah.
bad.
and listen, as far as the guy's a complete electric factory. I mean, the guy just is an amazing basketball player. But to me, you got Luka, you got LeBron, and with
Reeves is good.
with
I
two
mean, it's-
teams that are fairly tight, like as far as overall talent. Like if they played however many games in a row, it'd probably end up being somewhere around the 500 range. Like
yeah,
so
exactly.
like. If they're that similar, I'm gonna go with the guys who have been there before. Like Luka made the finals last year. LeBron's made the finals almost every year I've watched basketball. Like it's like I'm gonna go with that team over Ant Edwards. Sometimes I think Ant Edwards is confidence turns to arrogance a little bit, sometimes too much. And I think he thinks he's already in regards with like the Michael Jordans of the world, like and he hasn't done anything. So until he starts to prove that he can win at a high level in the playoffs, I'm just gonna roll with the Lakers in this situation.
I'm gonna go with him too. I mean, and I think it will go 6 or 7 games. I the only reason I am going, well, two reasons. One, I think like the Lakers will get the whistles just because they're the Lakers.
Yeah.
You got LeBron and Luca, and they're gonna be shooting a ton of free throws every game. That's just But
Their game.
outside of him, Reeves and Luca, how are the supporting cast going to play? Who knows? But you could say the same thing for the Timberwolves. Julius Randle has had a career. Come being a Knicks fan, I know how he's played in the playoffs, and it's never been great ever.
Yeah.
To his credit, he's always been injured in some way, shape, or form. But and then what you said before, sometimes Ant Edwards will just like he'll have those 7 for 29 games where like at the end of the box score, his numbers will look good. You'll be like, wow, he kind of like shot him out of that game a little bit, like
Yeah.
playing hero ball. It's almost like Kobe-esque some games.
Yeah.
Where, not to take anything away from like the greatness, but like he will have a couple playoff games where he shoots under 30%, and you'll be like, wow, they probably could have won that game if he
wasn't trying to be a hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
I mean, it all comes down to how's Nas Reed going to play and Dante DiVincenzo, and the biggest X factor in the whole thing is Julius Randle. And history tells us that he hasn't been that great in these moments. So you got to go with the team who's more consistent. Luka and LeBron just always show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, and listen, I agree. I know that the supporting cast, they matter more than the general public likes to think,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
it matters a lot more. But I also fall way more towards the general public's opinion in these types of situations just because people can say whatever they want, and basketball is a game of who's the deepest team and who can stay healthy through the long series and all that. But at the end of the day, if Luka and LeBron play their best basketball, they're going to win the series. Like it's like a lot of times as square as it is to say or as goofy as it can look, a lot of these playoff series do fall on the superstars.
It's because and this was like, the supporting cast. Well, guess like this happens every year. Sometimes it's like teams will only play 7, 8 guys in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Because they just had the Lakers are Luka and LeBron are going to have a week and a half off, right? I mean, since the last time they all played, they're going to play 38 to 40 minutes every single game.
This is my point. Like people tend to think that it's a square pick or or you don't know ball if like you just think because Luka and LeBron are on the Lakers they're going to win the series. It's like of course there are other factors in the series, but my point is that these superstars dictate how their teams do. Like if the Lakers lose this series, it's probably because Luka and LeBron have at least 2 or 3 games in the series where they just don't play well.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
so it falls on the players, the superstars, to play their best basketball. If Ant Edwards comes out the gate and has his best series he's had, chances are the Timberwolves have a really good chance to win the series. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of it does fall. I know the supporting cast matters, but a lot of it does just really truly fall back to the superstars on the team.
I agree. All right, so we're both going Lakers there.
Yeah.
All right, last matchup for the West, we got the Rockets and the Warriors. I'm gonna let you go first here because I'm still undecided, but I know who
Yeah,
you're gonna
I mean
pick.
it's an obvious pick for me. I love the Warriors through and through. I think the Warriors are the team this year that are going to make the run. I know in the West, it's not as much of a disparity between the lower seeds and the higher seeds. Like a lot of people might look at the seeds and say 2 versus 7 and it's a no-brainer, but like if you watch basketball, you know the West is so stacked top to bottom that the seeding isn't necessarily
These are
that
all
important.
50-win teams.
Yeah. So, and the Golden State Warriors with getting Jimmy Butler on the team, I don't like the way he got himself there. Thought he was kind of a little bit of a crybaby, and I generally don't like that kind of stuff. But I have put a lot of my money on Jimmy Butler in these crazy playoff runs and watched him just turn into an entirely different player when playoff times roll around. And just like we say, we know the history of guys like Julius Randle and we know the history of guys like Aaron Judge, different sport, but like guys who kind of are these great players who kind of don't necessarily come through in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler is the polar opposite. Jimmy Butler is the kind of guy who elevates to a level that he doesn't even know he has when the playoffs come around. So when you have a guy like that, plus you have the best shooter in NBA history, alongside of a guy who's won multiple titles and when he catches fire is unstoppable. If those two guys catch fire at the right time, which I think they're both going to, I think they're going to make a run and go all the way. So this is a no-brainer for me. I think they're going to beat the Rockets. Obviously, I think the Rockets are a great team, and if they won, wouldn't necessarily be this gigantic shock to me. But my opinion, the Warriors are gonna take the Rockets out in 6.
I don't know if there's ever been a player like Jimmy Butler to where it's like
2 totally different players.
it's unbelievable. Like the play in the last game of the season, they played the Clippers. He was terrible, awful. And they're like, wow, is this a sign to come of what's going to happen? Maybe he's just like not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
And then he plays the Grizzlies and he drops 38. And now I'm like, I actually have no idea what to even think of him anymore.
I just think players like that, there are certain players that they almost convince themselves like they're so confident when everything's on the line that they want the ball in their hands so bad. And when you perform at a high level that many times in a row, it's almost just built into like, I'm going to go out there and do this. And like when your mentality is so like kind of just set in stone like that, sometimes it just becomes a snowball effect and you just become that guy like Giancarlo for the Yankees. Like he just doesn't do what people expect him to do in regular seasons with injuries and strikeouts. And he just doesn't really not that guy. And then all of a sudden, like the light switch flips in the playoffs and he hits a gazillion home runs.
And every game is like game 7.
Exactly. So
just,
sometimes when you have that mentality, it just kind of works. And there's a lot of other people who have a lot of expectations because they play so well during the regular seasons that all that stuff sits on their shoulders when it comes to playoff time. And those guys, they just crack when it matters. Jimmy Butler maybe has the pressure now because he's so known as a playoff guy, but like he kind of just has the expectations of just being a good basketball player. And so when he elevates and plays at a high level, everyone loves him. Whereas like guys like Judge or Luka or any of these players, like they go in with a lot of pressure because they're expected to do it. So if they don't, it's just spotlight on. Yeah. Whereas like kind of all the pressure is kind of on Steph as far as Jimmy Butler is concerned, you know?
Well, to this, I mean, it's just like You know, and I don't mind the pick of the Warriors. Like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and pick the Rockets here, but all the pressure to me is on the Rockets now.
Of
In my
course.
opinion, I mean they played well to end the season, and now, you know, a lot of people are picking the Warriors to win this because of the experience, and we haven't seen the Rockets yet, right? In like the playoffs, so obviously the smart way would be to lean the Warriors way because they've been here so many times
Yeah,
before. You know, I always look at it from top down. You know, the depth of the Rockets are better, right? Like, I mean, you
of
got
course.
Thompson, you got Şengün, Green, Van Vliet. I mean, like the talent there is there to beat the Warriors. It's just which one of those guys is going to step up and say like, I'm the best on this team,
I'm not so sure if
and I'm
any of
not
them.
sure if any of them will do
Yeah,
it.
me too.
But you know, their coach Imadoka is awesome. He's been here so many times. He's done like this. He speaks out about, you know, Steph getting whistles, and he's going at LeBron in games, and I think he's an awesome coach. I hope he has him ready. Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green, they're probably going to fight every other game.
Yeah.
And if Dylan Brooks gets, you know, feeds into it, it's going to be interesting to see what the refs do. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple ejections at series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting series for sure. I think it's going to be an exciting series. And I think it's a funny situation because you said, like, I know there is a lot of pressure on the Rockets for sure, just because of the seeding aspect of it. But I do think that a ton of the pressure can fall on the Warriors as well, because, like you said, I think more people than not are taking the Warriors
Oh,
to
to
win this
win, yeah.
series.
And I don't
So
blame them. I mean, you have a team that's just unproven. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Now they're the second seed.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I'm obviously pulling for the Warriors. Like, if you were watching from the beginning, I have the Warriors to win it all. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that shakes. But as of now, I'm gonna go Warriors over Rockets.
All right. We'll move on to the East. Cavaliers that we have here, either the Bulls or the Miami Heat. Does either matter for? Oh wait, not the Bulls. The Bulls lost. It would be the Heat or the Hawks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go Hawks. I'm gonna go Hawks. I like Atlanta. I'm one of the few guys who likes.
Wow. So you think Atlanta is going to beat the Heat tonight and then beat the Cavaliers?
Yeah. No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no. I thought you said
Oh,
the Heat
no,
or
no.
the Hawks.
So that's for the playing game.
Oh.
Yeah, so the winner of that game has to play the Cavs.
Okay,
All right,
okay,
so you're
okay.
going with the Hawks to beat the Heat.
I'm going with the Hawks to beat the Heat. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. And then I'm going with the Cavs. I'm going with the Cavs
to beat the Hawks.
To beat
Okay.
the Hawks.
I was
yeah.
gonna say, wow, upset alert. That
No,
would be
no,
nuts.
no, 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 no. I don't think the Cavs are going to lose the series to the Hawks, but I do like Trae Young, and I know most people don't, but I like him. He's a shoot, man, and I think he comes
To
to
me,
play.
I couldn't have been more wrong about him when he came into the league. I know, Lou was like, dude, he's gonna be the next Steph Curry, and I was like, all right, settle down, pump the
Yeah,
brakes.
I don't
But
know
now, like,
about all that.
he is really good.
He's
Like,
really
he's
good.
unbelievable.
I know. I love him. I love him. I mean, I like the Knicks. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a Knicks fan, but
He's
I
a
like
Nick killer.
I like the Knicks, and I loved when he did all that shit with, like, you know, ice in the veins when he was shooting from deep and knocking them out and all that. Like, I like entertaining players like that. So Trae Young is up high on the list for me. I like to watch him play. So I would love to see an upset there because I think the Cavaliers. I mean, I like Donovan Mitchell's my guy, but
Yeah.
overall, I think Trae Young is probably a more entertaining player. So I'd like to see Trae Young make a run, but yeah, I think they're going to get snubbed
He's
out by
just so good. I mean, he goes so underrated, like 25 and 10 average. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, we see numbers like that and we take them for granted. But like 10 years ago, it'd be like MVP stats.
I
you
know, I know. I
mean,
like Trae Young. I think they win the playing game. I think they make it interesting, but I do think that the Cavaliers are just
Yeah.
way
either
more
way, I'm
equipped.
going with the Cavs too. I mean, between you know, Garland, Mitchell, you know, Ty Jerome, Mobley, Jared Allen.
I mean, the
the
Cavs lost under 20 games.
I know they are unbelievable.
Like, dude, they play 82 games. They lost under 20 games in the entire season. That's ridiculous.
I know a lot of people are down on them because of previous, you know, playoff stints, but I mean, like, the numbers will tell you any team that loses under 20 games in the regular season is probably going to go
Dude,
to the NBA Finals.
Donovan
Like,
Mitchell's always been my guy too. I mean, I like Donovan Mitchell.
yeah, Mobley's making a big jump this
Dame.
year, and so is Garland. So I mean, listen, I hope it's a competitive series, but that's one I think the Cavs will probably win in 5 with
Yeah,
whoever
I
they
agree.
play,
I agree.
so.
I'm hoping for a more competitive than what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, me too. All right, we'll do one more, and then we'll have to reset the thing. Pacers and Bucks.
Pacers and Bucks.
No, I don't think Dame is going to play this series, unfortunately.
Yeah, if Dame isn't going to play, it probably leans Pacers, but I'd like to see I just know the Pacers as the team that makes it every year and loses in the first round. I've never really seen them do anything outside of that.
Last year they made it pretty. I think they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh,
but last
so-
year they did. A lot of injury luck though. Might get some hate there.
Okay,
I
okay,
mean,
okay.
They played
So-
against teams who were just hurt the entire time.
I'm gonna. Man, if Dame played, I'd roll Bucks.
No, me too.
I'd roll Bucks, but you know what? If the Bucks win, is there any chance Dame plays the next series? Because I know he's got that weird
kinda like
condition.
the-
He's on those blood thinners,
But,
and
yeah,
right.
they just say he could be. I don't even know if he's totally out for the whole series, but I mean I would doubt it. Even if he comes back.
All right, I'll roll Pacers. I'll be that guy. I'll just roll the Pacers. I'll take the Pacers in the series. I think Dame's too important to the Bucks overall.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks just to play the other side here. I think we're gonna see generational numbers from Giannis in this series where he just is dropping
Takes over.
45, 15.
I'd like
tag.
that to happen because if there's any outside chance we
I
get to
love
see Dame in the
Giannis, man.
playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Back to your Dame memories here.
Oh yeah, I was just saying in general. We were talking about the Bucks and the Pacers, and I would like the Bucks to win the series, but I think not having Dame is fairly important. Enough to be like kind of like a decision maker. So I'll probably roll Pacers, but I would love to see the Bucks win just because there was that series where he hit that long buzzer beater, and that was probably one of the biggest basketball bets I had won like ever. And when Dame was just doing a gazillion crossovers at the half court mark, I was yelling at my TV, "You idiot! You idiot! Like, what are you doing?" I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then he just heaves up this shot from literally almost half court, and I'm like, "What a fucking idiot!" And it goes in. I'm like, "He is the best player in the goddamn world."
And he's
I,
just going
went,
like this.
Oh, I
like-
went ballistic, dude. I went ballistic. It was one of the best memories I have from.
That's honestly one of the
gambling.
coldest sports moments.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool. I remember, like,
And then Paul George at the podium after just being so sour. That was a bad shot. Bad shot.
it was a horrible shot. but I agree. It was a horrible shot to take. But when he sunk it, oh my god, dude! Like, I remember I could feel and like almost hear my heart beating for like a full 7 minutes, like 8 minutes after the shot made, because I couldn't even believe that it happened. It was a substantial amount.
I do love watching them in the playoffs, and I hope that he does come back because a little part of me always wants, that or thinks that the Cavs and the Bucks would just be a unbelievable series. Like,
Yeah.
you have Giannis and you have Dame and whatever Bobby Portis and those guys, and I think they could give the Cavs a run for their money just because when you have a guy like Giannis, I mean, like your Jokic point before, if you have the best player in the series, like you tend to lean towards that guy.
Yeah.
And just every year, Giannis is always so consistent in the playoffs, man. He just always puts up these crazy numbers, and you just love to see it. But I also don't like the Pacers at all, but that's because they knocked us out of the playoff last year. But all right, so you're going Pacers, I'm going Bucks.
Yeah, I don't like it. Just for the record, I want the Bucks to win the series, but I just think it's a lot to overcome. If a guy like Dame's not going to play, I feel like it's such a missing piece for a team that needs that piece in the biggest moment of the year. I think it might affect them more than it.
Oh,
than it
100%.
should.
Next series, this one's going to take some years off my life, is the Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. Now, these teams have played each other in the regular season this year. The Pistons won 3 out of 4 against the Knicks. I know one of the games, the Knicks, a couple players didn't play. I think like Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and maybe Mitch Robinson. But What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with the Knicks. I mean, I'm gonna take all you know, I'm gonna take all the logical thought out of it because the Knicks really haven't beat anybody worth talking about. I mean,
No,
like any of the
yes.
better teams, the Knicks have really kind of got throttled all year by the more important teams, or at least the games I've tuned
Oh,
into.
no, you're right. I
Um,
mean, they haven't beat. They have 0 wins against the top 3 teams in the
yeah, it's
NBA.
pretty. It's borderline embarrassing. I mean, I know it's a great year for them, but like usually great years tend to be years where you believe that they can go pretty far. I'd love to see Jalen Brunson. He's also one of those players who, when they do catch fire, they can be reach that unstoppable level. And I'd love to see the Knicks win. It's just good for basketball. Even outside of me being living in New York, being a New York guy, like period the end. When the New York Knicks are playing good, basketball's in a better place.
Yeah.
It makes the series more exciting. It gets more viewership. It's just a better place for basketball to be. The Detroit Pistons move on. Nobody cares. So let's be honest. I'm just gonna hope to God Jalen Brunson kind of goes into one of those like God mode type scenarios. Just plays out of his face.
He always does in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
just like,
So I love Jalen Brunson. I think when he's playing his best basketball, he's a top 5 player in the league, and let's just hope that he can turn on the Jets at the right time. And I would love to see them just walk through the Pistons, which I think they could do,
they
but
could do. Yeah.
they're very scary in the sense that like they really haven't showed up in a lot of the big moments this year. So we'll see. We'll see. This is their first big test, and I think that if they are going to go far, I do think they need to stomp the Pistons to just regain some confidence that hey, we can we can hang with the big dogs. We can put teams away. We can do this because if they play like a real scrappy series that comes down to the wire, I really think that their confidence isn't going to be there to beat the better teams. So I'm hoping for a walkthrough here.
That's a perfect way to put it. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take the Knicks too, but I think, like you said, like just listen. If you drop a game in this series, like it's okay, but your wins have to be like, oh man, we just got by on that one. You can't have that.
Yeah.
Outside of Cade Cunningham, like the Knicks have the best, like 1 through 7 have the better players than the Pistons do. I mean, when you talk about guys like OG and Carl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, which one, who's going to show up? I don't know which one, but and then Josh Hart's always doing his thing and Deuce, but like Jalen Brunson has to be the guy to just completely take over, and
Hmm.
we can't have a timid Carl Anthony Towns either because he's had some games when what makes me nervous about the Knicks is when they're all healthy and they're all playing together. Sometimes like OG and McCall get, they kind of disappear into the background a little bit because the Knicks get super pick and roll happy with just Carl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, and Brunson shooting 25 times a game, and then it's like, well, you just traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and he's just sitting in a corner now at this point.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the way they ended the year because they still haven't figured out like what 5 they're going to use, who's closing these games, what's the best lineup to put out there, how is the offense gelling together. I mean, they're going to win this series just because they're a more talented team, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
that's just it. Point blank, period, the end. They have the better players. They have the home court advantage. The Pistons are a young team. They've never been in the playoffs before. Great story this year making the 6th seed, but it's like, you know,
It's
yeah,
the
you,
East.
you got to roll. Yeah, it's the East, and you got to roll with the Knicks here.
Yep. I'm hoping that they walk through the Pistons just for confidence sake because I would love to see the Knicks make a deep run. It would
Confidence
just be,
in the next game that they would play is, I mean, I'm sure we're both going to pick the Celtics against the Magic here. That would
yeah,
be their next matchup. So it's
yeah,
like
and the Celtics have absolutely
owned them
shit on them
for
this
like the
year.
past. I mean, it's so bad.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
really
is.
bad.
What do you think about? What do you make of the Celtics and Magic series?
Yeah,
I
I,
mean,
I I don't think it's much of a series. I think that the Celtics are going to walk through the Magic. And for the Knicks' sake, you got to hope that the Magic put up a fairly decent fight, maybe knock the Celtics off their high horse a little bit, knock them down a peg so they come in a little confused. And you hope the Knicks walk through the Pistons. Perfect scenario, worlds collide, and maybe the Knicks have a chance to upset. But in this scenario, I think the chances that the Celtics walk through the Magic are a lot higher than the Knicks walking through Detroit.
I mean, I would be almost shocked if the Celtics lost a game.
I know. I agree. I think the Celtics are just a well-oiled machine. I'm not a Tatum guy. I've never been a Tatum guy. Like Tatum is like my Jalen Hurts of the NBA. Just don't. I just not a Tatum guy. I just never was, never will be. But all in all, the Celtics just through and through, their entire roster, their coaching staff, everything about what the Celtics do is just, it seems to always just be better than everybody else. So I really, really like what the Celtics are doing, and I think that they absolutely destroy Orlando.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's like, you know, watching Jason Tatum has crushed the Knicks. Like as like a lot of, I know on like the outside world is like a lot of the times like he doesn't shoot the ball well, right, in these big spots, and Jaylen Brown always that, you know, last year
That's
has
my
come
guy.
off like huge.
Yeah.
It's like I've watched Jason Tatum just drop in like Michael Jordan-esque numbers on the Knicks. And it's like we're probably going to get more of that in round 2, and how they're going to respond, because you know, this is the team the Knicks put together to beat the Celtics. Like they got Mikal Bridges to play defense on Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, and they signed OG to do the same thing, but it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And has looked real bad at times. So
hey, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you gotta leave the past in the past, right? I mean, obviously, it all matters, and the Celtics are in the Knicks' head for sure. I mean, they have their number, but if the Knicks can gain enough confidence by running through Detroit to come into this series well prepared, you know, things can happen. I mean, Tatum, I don't have the most confidence in Tatum in the playoffs as like I do Jaylen Brown. So I think if you can kind of focus on shutting down Jaylen Brown, force Tatum's hand to kind of be the hero, anything could happen. So I would love to see the Knicks take out the Celtics in the second round.
Goodness. I think I'd cry. Like that would be my finals.
Yeah, I know. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Celtics are definitely not going to have any issues with Orlando.
No. All right. So that's the NBA playoffs. So you got the Warriors winning it all.
Yep.
Man, I still don't know who I think. You know what? I'll just pick the Knicks. Unbiased me. I'll pick the Knicks. They got it. This is their year. They're gonna figure it out. Jalen Brunson and everyone's gonna.
It would be cool. It'd be cool if the Knicks played the Warriors. I would not, unfortunately, be able to root for the Knicks in that situation, but it would be great for basketball. I mean, you're talking about probably the highest viewed NBA Finals in a few years if that happens.
Oh, 100%. If it's like Warriors or Lakers, Knicks, I mean, it's going to be.
Obviously, the Lakers, Knicks would probably be the highest, but I'm just saying in general, I think Steph Curry has garnished such a gigantic fucking following.
I know.
That I think when you hear Steph Curry in the NBA Finals and the New York Knicks getting there for the first time in God knows how many years, I think it would be an epic storyline. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, but but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. So we'll see how it all shakes.
All right, that'll wrap it up for our NBA analysts. But real quick, we'll. The Masters just completed last week, and Rory McIlroy completed the Grand Slam.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I was ecstatic to watch that, man. I was so happy for him, just seeing him cry. Rory is one of those people to me that have taken the brunt of like being mocked at, that other guys in golf don't get as much. You know, I said this the other day to my dad is. You know, he was called a choke artist for so long, and I don't blame him. But, like, when you talk about, like, the other guys like Spieth, you know, and how his hot start, and it's not even brought up, or Justin Thomas, or anyway, it's just like Rory just has so much pressure in golf to just be the next Tiger that it's just like seeing him win like that was great, man. I was happy for him. I know people don't like him because
I'm one of those guys. I'm not a Rory guy.
But I was so pumped for that.
I will say he had, it was an entertaining Masters, one of the most roller coaster-esque type runs I've seen from any player. I mean, I saw him play horribly and I saw him play incredible. Like that stretch he had to end the first day was horrific.
Those
and
then
and then he starts off the second day with like 4 threes. I mean, and the shots he made towards down the stretch, that one shot where he hooked it around the trees, the shot he made on the playoff hole after Rose sticks it to like 15 feet maybe, and then Rory just steps up, puts it inside to a tap in basically for the Masters win. Incredible run. I just don't like Rory. I think Rory is authentic. Like he's authentically himself. He's not trying to be anybody that he's not. Like he definitely says what he means what he says. It's just I just don't like his I don't like what he's saying. But it's not that I think he's saying it to be cool or to be different. Like I do think he believes what he says,
Oh
and
yeah.
and that's very rare nowadays. A lot of people say things for clicks or views or whatever they feel is necessary to be at the top. And I do think Rory just says what he believes. So you got to respect him for that. And I do respect him for completing the Grand Slam. He's a great golfer. It's just, I just don't, I just don't think he's as relatable as like the other guys.
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
like like we're in like the minority of golf purists of, we like the live guys,
yeah,
like we like the YouTube golfers and
a hundred
stuff like that.
percent.
And Rory is
Is
not
is the polar
that.
opposite.
Yeah.
Rory is just like, he anytime he has an opportunity to kind of like downplay the whole YouTube run, he takes his stabs at that, and he has been way over the top against the live guys, which I mean, I guess that's what the PGA is looking for, is somebody to kind of like stand up and speak out against those things.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those players that were getting handed God knows how much money to go play for live when Rory already had money. You know what I mean? Not to say that these guys don't have any money, but like if you're a guy who's only played professional golf and been in the spotlight for a year or two, and they're going to offer you $100 million to go play for live, like who's going to say no to that? Rory's already got God knows how much money.
He's coming at it from a bad standpoint. Like he hates on the guys that, hey, maybe on tour, yeah, like they have good money. Maybe they have 20 million.
Yeah.
But Rory has 200-300 million. And he doesn't realize that getting offered 150 million is like
life changing for multiple
like
people in your family,
generational
for everything. Yeah. So I disagree with how hard he
he
went
was
against
just
that.
disconnected. Look, like, listen, we all watched the full swing. Brooks Koepka, he came out flat out said, like, I went to live because I didn't know if I was ever going to be healthy again, like
Yeah.
fully healthy to win that type of money on tour.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, he goes, listen, if I knew I was going to be in the shape I am now, maybe I wouldn't have went.
Yeah.
He goes, but like to sit there and bash these guys for, like, one thing in sports I feel like is so common is you're not supposed to get in other people's pockets, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing. You don't talk about people's contract and you don't talk about what people do with their money. That's like
Yeah.
the first thing. And Rory went up there and did that for months.
Yeah, I'm not a Rory guy. I just don't think he's I don't think he's a relatable guy. I think he's more of like he's an icon in golf for sure, and
Yeah.
respect everything he's done. But like even when you look at the overall career of some of these players in golf, I think a lot of stuff gets overlooked. Like I think Rory is immediately regarded as like, a top 10 golfer all time, and it's just like he might have gotten there now with the Grand Slam because of how impressive a Grand Slam
Listen,
is.
he's a
but-
top 15 golfer right now of
yeah,
all time.
but I mean, I think people forget like before Sunday, like him and Brooks Koepka had the same amount of majors.
I know.
So
Well,
like,
people were throwing him up there over Phil, and I'm like,
Hold on
we
a
gotta
second.
pump the brakes here.
breaks. He
Like,
basically is Phil.
like Phil
Yeah.
has what, 2 or 3 more majors and 20 more PGA wins. Listen, I know the Grand Slam is tough, but like at the end of the day, like championships and wins matter. You got a guy that's got more majors, which I'm not saying Rory won't get there, but let's not throw him up there above.
That's
Phil
what I'm
just
saying. I
yet.
think sometimes people are quick to put him up high. Everyone was just like, "Oh, he won the Masters. That's it. Like that's his crown jewel. He's automatically cemented himself." And granted, he might have cemented himself in golf history as a great all-time great, but I don't know. I'm not. I guess I'm a little bit of a hater. Rory has just always rubbed me the wrong way. I just always think like, and even the whole thing, like I know a lot of people can feel how they feel about Bryson DeChambeau, and I do think a lot of the things he does can be somewhat corny.
Yeah, not authentic.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
could definitely be on the cornier side. Definitely more driven towards pushing his brand higher and trying to be that guy. But I do think through and through, he's like a pretty good guy.
Oh yeah, great
And,
guy. Like, I've definitely done a 180 on him.
And for like, the whole thing, like I know it's petty or you're supposed to stay focused or whatever, but to like not even talk to the guy that you're playing the final round with, going toe
Listen,
to toe
some
with.
people don't do that, and I understand it. You know what? I think it was a bad question. It's like Bryson just got done playing, not a great round,
Yeah.
and immediately is, did Rory McIlroy say anything to you? It's like one why would Bryson care at that point? Like he just, he played bad. He probably doesn't want to sit there and get badgered by, did Rory talk to you? Like,
It doesn't matter. I
Tiger
get it.
used to not say a word. Like there's been how many stories that come out where people would, and it definitely got blown over because you can see him on the first hole where Rory shakes his hand, pats him on the back, has a smile, and says, "Have a good round," and
Yeah.
that's it. There's majors where Tiger wouldn't even glance at the person he's playing.
And I
with.
like the killer mentality, Michael Jordan, like all these guys. Like I get it, I
Yeah.
get it, but I just overall it seems like there's a lot of guys on tour that are very likable. You know, like,
like
that
Scotty. and,
Yeah, like there are guys out there who have like that laid back, like they have their funny comments in the pressers about like playing golf with their buddies and like and doing stuff. And I feel like when you're trying to get as many eyes as you can to the sport of golf, like YouTube Golf has done like gigantic things for people watching the PGA and people watching these live events.
100%.
Like
yeah.
so, like you see what the Live just did with the duels and stuff like that. Like they're bringing in like all this new like viewership, and it's relatable for guys like me and you who go out and shoot anywhere between 80 and 100. You know?
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, you got like, we pop on, at least me, like I'll pop on YouTube and see, what the latest video is, whether it's Bob playing with Bryson or Phil doing something
Grant
with
Horvath.
Grant. And I feel like those guys are definitely elevating the game more than Rory is.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
that's no disrespect to Rory at all. He's a great golfer, but they embraced and Bryson's a big proponent of this, getting people into golf.
Yeah.
And he's doing it in a way where kids that are 13, 14, 15 years old, they watch YouTube. They're not tuning in to CBS on 3 o'clock on a Sunday to watch a PGA tour.
I completely agree with that. And that's why I think that Rory is out of touch. Like Rory just he's a great golfer. And I respect the way he looks at things. Like he's not a phony. He's not a fake. He's authentically himself. And all his reactions are real. Everything he does is in the moment. Like, and you got to respect a guy like that. It's just, I just don't like him. You know, I just don't like him. I mean,
there's certain things that rub people the wrong way.
Yeah,
it's
not that I don't think he's good. It's not that I don't think he's one of the best, because he is. It's just if you're asking me my personal preference, like I was rooting for Justin Rose. Like Justin Rose to me is a guy who has proven over the years he can still compete with the young dogs. You know, and he placed second in the last two majors. You know. He's been in the mix with these guys for God knows how long. I mean, how many years is the guy on tour?
Oh, he's 46, right? So,
and he's still just dialed in, making it happen, competing. So I would have loved to see Justin Rose take it, but
that's
I
what the good
understand.
thing is about golf is there's so many likable guys. Like there are so many guys who you'd want up there to win. Like, like I was rooting for Rory to win just because you like seeing greatness and see a Grand Slam done.
Yeah,
it's
one
one
true.
of the cooler
You got to
things,
root for.
But it's like, man, coming into that last day, I'm like, man, if Scotty makes a run here, that'd be awesome. Or if Bryson wins another one, that'd be great. Or wow, if Aberg just is like a machine and closes this out, or Justin Rose has been doing this for so long, it'd be awesome to see. There's so many like storylines to where it would all have a good ending. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like you said, you never really want to root against greatness, so it was a little bit of a
it was like
a weirdo thing for me to be like, I hope Justin Rose wins, but because you want to root to see the great moments in sports. So.
I was almost split in the Sunday about who I'd want to win, and it was between Rory and Bryson because I like Bryson now. I think like he's awesome, but it's like at the end of the day, I was like, it'd be cool to see a Grand Slam. So
and for a second there, like very early on in the round, Rory started off horrible.
By Bryson had
took
the
lead. Yeah, Bryson took the lead. It was looking like he could have went a different way, and you got to respect the fact that Rory kept it together after a couple of really bad shots and put himself in a really, really good position. He dug deep and made the shots when they counted. So I mean, I respect Rory. Good for him, but definitely not a Rory fan. That's for sure.
You're not alone. All right, that'll do it for this week from us. Thanks for tuning in. Just make sure you follow us and check us out on all of our platforms. Double or Nothing Podcast, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the above, Facebook.
All right.
We'll catch you guys next week for some draft stuff.
Later.